I'm thrilled with today's guest, New York Mayor Eric Adams. He is, of course, running for re-election as an independent. Mayor Adams, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Great to be on with you. And as we always share, I'm still a Democrat, but the process allows us to run on an independent line, and I'm doing that based on safe and affordable. The conversation, I think, is important.
Okay, give me a speech right now. Tell me why, if I'm a voter in New York and I voted for you last time, I should vote for you this time, or even if I didn't vote for you, why should I vote for you?
I think that what I hear often when I'm at older adult town hall, community meetings, on the subway, and I started engaging in conversations on what we have done in the last 3 years and 6 months, people walk away saying, wow, Eric, I did not know that. People don't know our housing record. As it was outlined in the Post today, building more housing in individual years in the recorded history of the city, housing reform, the $30 billion we're putting back in the pockets of working class New Yorkers, paying off medical debt. Low income New Yorkers no longer pay income tax in the city. What we're doing around public safety, 23,000 illegal guns removed off our streets. The 7 major crime categories are decreasing. And I have to really allow New Yorkers to know what the last 3.5 years were like, and how we really turned around our city from the economy, more jobs in the history of the city in New York, small businesses, dropped unemployment in all categories. All the indicators that state if the city is moving in the right direction, we have done that. And I want to continue doing that in even more.
I like something you did recently. You got out and you spoke and you said people openly using illegal drugs on the streets in our parks, passed out in the doorways and sidewalks, encampments littered with syringes and vials and unsanitary conditions that are a threat to our public health and public order. This cannot be allowed to continue. And you propose really getting very aggressive and getting the drug abusers off the streets.
Yes, and it's this any and everything goes mindset that people believe cities are supposed to surrender to. When you Google other cities and see the street conditions, the homelessness, the encampments, people living in boxes and tents. When I came into office in 2022, I was clear, we're not going to live that way as a city. January and February, I went out in 2022 and visited people who were living in tents and in boxes and on subway tracks, along our highways. We had people living in trees in the city. And what I saw was horrendous. Stale food, drug paraphernalia, human waste, bipolar, schizophrenic impacts. And we went back and stated we're not going to allow our brothers and sisters to live this way. We started with severe mental health illness, took thousands off the streets. 3,500 we placed from homelessness into permanent housing that were dealing with mental health illness. But then we noticed something. We noticed that those with severe mental health illness also was dealing with drug abuse. And so although we were able to get the involuntary removal bill partially passed in Albany, we knew we had to do something about drug abuse. And that is what we're going to put in front of our lawmakers the next legislative cycle, to say we can't let people who don't realize they are harming themselves and stay on our streets.
Just switching subject, you've been a tremendous supporter of the Jews in Israel. You've talked a lot about anti-Semitism. Talk to me about, in the next term, what things that you will do to make sure that anti-Semitism does not continue to creep up on the streets of New York.
Yeah, first I want to explain why. Because people think that it just came out of nowhere. Many and far too many people don't know the rich history between African American and Jews and other groups. When you look at benevolent actions on helping those who are going through some form of crisis or unfair treatment, you always can look and see some Jewish group, organization, or individual was playing a role. And it touches me personally. My mother and father, dad came from Alabama, the southern part of our country. Many people don't know about Julius Rosenwald and what he did by opening thousands of independent schools for African Americans who were not allowed to be in a segregated school system. At one time, 40% of the students from the South were being educated in his schools. He was one of the co-sponsors and endorsers of Howard University. Then you look at even the Mississippi uprising, the number of young people that went to the South to fight for civil rights. Over 50% of them were Jewish young students that went down and fight and fought for that. And so there's always been a partnership. And so when I am here in the city and I'm watching the spread of anti-Semitism, not only here in New York, but there's a global spread. We have become too comfortable with anti-Semitic actions all across the globe, and it can't happen in the city where the largest Jewish population outside of Israel is in New York. So it's the right thing to do, just as I stood up for other groups in general, but specifically, we cannot continue to see the increases in anti-Semitism. And so term two, we want to do a couple of things. We want to expand on our breaking bread, building bonds. This really is a proactive way of having communities know of each other. We did 19,000 dinners so far, and people sat in the room and did something revolutionary. They talked to each other, and we learned from each other. What's a sukkah? Why does Passover take place every year? All of these things. But then we want to really partner with our district attorneys. There should be a no plea bargaining rule for people who commit hate crimes. We should not allow them to drop those crimes down to harassment. We need to send a serious message that hate crimes cannot persist in this city. And then we got to go into our educational system. Ivy League school, Columbia, NYU, and some of the others, and the Department of Education. And we have to really start educating our young people to understand that this city should have no place for hate and be clear about that. But we can't surrender. When people wanted me to cancel the Israeli Day Parade out of fear and violence, I said, like heck, I would. It's not happening. And we had the parade. We sent a loud message that we would never surrender to fear and violence in this city.
While we're on this subject, the Jewish community is very concerned about one of your competitors, Mr. Mandami. He has refused to condemn the term globalizing intifada. He refuses to recognize Israel as a Jewish state. Is he an anti-Semite?
You know, and that's a challenge. His actions come across as such. You know, I'm very careful about labeling people, but you can't get away from the fact that his unwillingness to as you just indicated, to denounce the term globalized intifada, his comments on Israel, like or dislike Netanyahu, to state that if he comes here, he's going to arrest them. You can't say, well, I just hate Israel. Well, who's in Israel? Jewish people. So his actions come across as anti-Semitic, and they do not come across as someone that should be the mayor of the largest Jewish population outside of Israel. So, you know, some believe that he would change his ways when he becomes mayor. I don't subscribe to that belief in theory. And then who he is associated with is more than just who he is as a candidate. He's represented by the DSA. That organization in itself, they hate our way of life. They don't believe in family. They don't believe in the things that we believe are important as Americans. They were out in the streets after October 7th, which was a horrific day. Out in the street with others who were celebrating such a destructive day. And so who he is part of gives a clear indication that he has some anti-Semitic tendencies.
While we're on him, he's run a campaign, very catchy, you know, affordability, buzzword, a lot of slick videos. Talk to me about why he could be very dangerous for New York.
And I talked about this over and over again. There's a larger conversation that's playing out in our city. You know, I always compare it to what happened in Iran. Many people forgot what Iran looked like. Iran was a very hip city
70s,
where everything
sure.
was going. And what happened? The Ayatollah fell. The Shah fell, and the Ayatollah took place. And within months, you saw a change in the country. And why? Radicalization of young people. They radicalized the young people. The young people became extremely hateful of the country. And that's what we're seeing here. I started to see that radicalization. Social media has helped in it. But he is part of the tool of radicalizing our young people to no longer not only like and love our way of life, but love the city and country they are part of. But then look at some of his policies to think it's okay for prostitution to be in our city and legal. Young boys and girls should not be selling their bodies on our street corners. You should not walk out of your house and see a person selling his or her body on the street corners. Government is supposed to assist that. We did a great deal of things to clean up that type of behavior and actions on 42nd Streets and other parts of our city. We shouldn't go backwards. And then to talk about defunding the police department or emptying out Rikers Island for 7,400 of the most dangerous inmates in our city are on Rikers Island because of bail reform. And to talk about allowing them to come out of jails because his organization don't believe that people should ever go to jail is just not realistic. And then think about this. No billionaires in the city. Clearly, he doesn't have an understanding of the economic ecosystem of our city. Our high income earners do much more than earn high incomes. They pay into our museums. They are part of great organizations like the Robin Hood Foundation. They use their discretionary money to assist our city. That's why we have police officers and firefighters.
Well, they also pay 52% of the people pay 50% of the taxes.
Think
also,
about that. So now what happens when you lose that 52%? Low-income New Yorkers are going to hurt. I'm able to excuse taxes on low-income New Yorkers because I have billionaires in our city. And so policy after policy, they're hurtful and they're harmful, and they are really set our city back.
Yeah, I'm concerned we are going to be a much less safe city. Speaking of safe cities, in the news, obviously, Washington, D.C., President Trump sent in 800 National Guard troops. He's pretty much taken over the Washington Police Department. What happens in New York if all of a sudden he decides this, you know what, even though crime is down, it should be down more, and I'm going to kind of really get involved here and send in troops? And how would you handle that?
Well, number one, the relationship between D.C. and the federal government is different than here. And, so we want to be clear on that. And under Commissioner Tisch, you're continuously watching crime decrease in the city. The first 7 months, we're at the lowest number of shooting and homicides in recorded history of the city. And the other 7 major crimes that the FBI Uniform Crime Report determines how safe a city is. We are moving in the right direction. Our subway system is this last month was the safest on recorded history outside of the 2 months of COVID. Clearly, you look at our Q teams, our quality of life team, 23,000 illegal guns removed off our streets. You're seeing this city is dealing with the crime issue, and we're the safest big city in America. Now, do we have high profile cases? Yes. Just had an incident over the weekend where gang members were involved in shootings that took the life of innocent New Yorkers, 3 innocent New Yorkers. We had the 345 Park Avenue shooting. These are high-profile shootings, and it shakes the confidence of our city. But this city, our crime problem is handled. We always want to drive down crime more, but we are protecting the 8.5 million New Yorkers in the city. Now, what the federal government can do that we want to coordinate with is stopping the overproliferation of guns in our country. There should be a real partnership like what we're doing. Every morning, we meet with something called HIDA, federal, state, and city law enforcement officers going after the most violent people in the city and in the state. And it has been a winning solution, and we need to continue to do that. But we don't need the National Guards to do what New York City finest what they're doing every day. They're called the finest for a reason because they do the job well.
Yeah, I think Commissioner Tisch has done a great job. And as a New Yorker my whole life, and it's never felt safer. It does feel very, very safe. And obviously the feather in your cap and your administration's cap for that.
And the real indicator of that, our nightlife. We are seeing nightlife establishments open. Broadway had the best 12 months in recorded history. Our hotel industry, it is booming. You're seeing private clubs opening, other restaurants. And why is that important? Because there's 100,000 jobs in a $30 billion industry. And you have those employees who are there, working class people, cooks, dishwashers, busboys and girls, waiters, bartenders. They all feed into the nightlife industry. And when people are safe, they are willing to spend their discretionary dollars to go out and enjoy what's best about this city.
Yeah. A lot of people are concerned about the possibility of Miami and are saying, okay, well, you and Cuomo are going to split the votes. And Cuomo has said that if he's behind in the polls mid-September, he'd drop out. Would you do the same thing?
No, think about mid-September. And first of all, Cuomo created this scenario. It was really unfortunate what he did. He knows he's on the ballot no matter what. So even if he says he's going to drop out, he's still on the ballot no matter what. And New Yorkers need to know that dropping out does not mean that his name will no longer be on the ballot. He did the same thing to Carl McCall when Carl McCall ran to be the first African-American governor. He put his name on the ballot and he stayed on the ballot, and Carl lost that race. He has a history of doing this. And imagine, where were we 6-7 weeks out from the primary? That is not when the polls indicate who is going to be the victor of the race. If we were to listen to his logic, when he was 7 weeks out from the Democratic primary, he was up about 20-something points. The day before the election, he put out a poll saying he was up 10 points. He lost by 13 points. This is a very unique race where you're going to get a lot of new voters. You're going to get a great deal of excitement that's coming from various communities who are going to be engaged. And so if we use the scheme that he put in place, Madani was at 1% of the poll at this point of the race. He would have automatically went in when he was up 36 points. This race is going to come down to the last 3 weeks when we're able to spend our money to tell New Yorkers what we have done. We're able to do what I do well, and that's connect with New Yorkers. That's how I won in the first place in a very competitive field. And so I don't think Andrew Cuomo should decide the rules of what the electoral process is going to be. He spent $35 million, did not campaign, arrogantly believed because of his last name he will automatically win the primary. He was proven wrong then, and he's going to be proven wrong again.
One thing as a media guy, I got to congratulate you. Your social media has been really good lately. It's very kind of deconstructed, fun, self-effacing. It sounds like you kind of found your rhythm there.
Yeah, we got more to do. And, I think I am just an authentic working class New Yorker. That's it. I went through a very difficult 16 months with the federal charges, was lawfare at the highest level. And I took a beating. I took a real beating. And, what I say to you and I say to others, go look at the day I was indicted for calling the fire commissioner and asking him to do a building inspection for the most part. But look at that date and then look at every day after. I got up every day. I did what New Yorkers do. We go through hard times. We take our hits. The wind is knocked out of us, but we deliver. And I think nothing personified that more than when I was a police lieutenant in September 11, 2001. Many people thought that was going to be the death of New York City, but on September 12th, we got up and we delivered for the city, and that's who I am. I'm a resilient, gritty, hardworking, working class New Yorker, and I know that people have been disappointed. I made some huge mistakes. But I inherited COVID, 237,000 migrants and asylum seekers. I inherited those who did not want to work from the previous administration, didn't believe in my mission because I was a total different style of mayor. And during COVID, when you go back, Donnie, in January 1st, 2022, we had a list of top-notch people we wanted to bring into the administration, and they were used to being home, and they said, Eric, I'm not coming back trying to do 12 hours a day. I've been home for some times. Unemployment is paying me enough to stay in, and I lost some good prospects. But in spite of that, we turned the city around, and I'm proud of what we have done.
On that note, Mayor Adams, I appreciate your time on the ballot again in November. Get out and vote, and I'm always been a big fan. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Donnie. Take care.
Everybody, thanks for watching. If you like it, hit that subscribe button. And we love having you here watching On Brand. And just don't miss any future episodes. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We'll see you next time.